And I hate to wade into political battles, but I'm going to drop into a little bit why what Georgia is doing right now is such a bad idea. Um, so when the White House came out with their recommendations for reopening society, and yes, I understand there's lots of political pressure and lots of economic pressure to restart our society, but um, Georgia seems to. So when the White House came out with their guidelines, they were actually fairly reasonable. If people were to follow those, there was actually some good thinking that went behind them. I'm not sure that they went far enough. And there were some details that were missing because this is an evolving situation, but they were fairly decent. However, there seem to be governors, and Georgia's one of them, for example, that are jumping the gun, that are opening up their states before they've met even the conservative White House requirements. And what's the problem with doing that? Well, the virus is still in our community. And if, in fact, we open up states early, we're going to just see an upsurge in numbers of cases. So if you take a look at what Georgia is doing, the governor there seems to have chosen all of the highest risk, low importance type of stores and opened them and establishments. So, tattoo parlors, beauty salons, barbershops, gyms. These are not life essential. And yes, it is important to exercise. I get it. But these aren't life essential enterprises to be starting the opening process with. And why are there problems? Well, if you look at barbershops and beauty salons, you have to get very close to the person you're working on. So you can't do it from 6 feet away. You can't cut their hair or do whatever they're doing 6 feet away. Same thing with tattoo parlors. You're there very close doing fine, intricate work on somebody's skin for a while, for an extended period of time, breathing on top of them. Very hard to socially distance. Gyms. What's the problem with gyms? Yes, you can separate the equipment and make the spacing. However, if you think back a month ago there was a very big cluster that formed in the early days of COVID in the West. I forgot what state it was in, where there was a choir practice. And it was thought that and a huge proportion of the people in that choir practice became infected with COVID-19. And the thinking is that singing creates a super spreading type of environment because you're breathing heavy and you're vibrating your throat and you're forcing lots of air out of your mouth, and that's spewing viral particles out, aerosols specifically. Well, the same kind of thing happens in gyms. If you're exercising heavily and you're breathing heavy and you're sweating, which is not so bad, but exercising, breathing, and putting out respiratory droplets and aerosols, that gym has the capability of filling up with viral particles. So here's my advice. If you're in Georgia or a state that's opening up gyms and barbershops, and I would wait 3 weeks and let's see what happens. Hopefully I'm wrong and there's mitigations that are happening, but do not be the first people that are going into those places when they first open. Give it 3 weeks and let's see if we see a big spike in illnesses. I want to talk a little bit about, let's see, my next thing, about, again, I usually don't wade into politics, but I can't help myself today. Yesterday, during the White House press conference, the President of the United States talked about disinfecting people's bodies from the inside out and talked about some type of light, because what happened is there was a presentation on the data that shows that sunlight can degrade the virus, which is true actually. Sunlight can partially degrade the virus a little bit and helps. And household disinfectants kill the virus, which we've known for a long time. But the president seemed to be musing out loud about, isn't there a way to disinfect from the inside and maybe shine light through the body, sunlight? And I'm not sure, I know he was just musing about possibilities. And however, people listened to the president, and that forced the makers of Lysol to immediately put out a statement that said, do not drink Lysol. Because there are some people that perhaps are not as educated as other people and might listen to the musings and think, oh my God, I'm desperate, I don't know what to do. And I'm going to drink some Lysol. Remember that we are just now stopping eating Tide pods. If you remember from when those Tide laundry detergent pods came out, there was a huge spike in poison control calls from people that have eaten those because they looked yummy and they ate them. So we're just now stopping eating Tide pods, and now we have people at the White House talking about disinfecting our bodies from the inside. That will not work. Please do not try that. Lysol will kill the germs and your body at the same time. The idea is to kill the germs and not kill the person. So just needed to comment on that. It's an issue today. And I understand the musings from the White House, and we're all grasping for positive news, but disinfecting our bodies from the inside is probably not a good idea.